Okay, we're on.
Are we?
Yeah.
Excellent, man. This drink is putting me back like
Couple years.
Couple of decades, man.
Really?
It's like Ovaltine. It's reminding me of Ovaltine.
I never had that as a kid.
Yeah, we did. Was it Horlicks? I think it was Ovaltine we mainly had in my house.
What is that meant to be? Isn't the difference between Ovaltine and actual hot chocolate that Ovaltine is meant to be something that like relaxes you?
Yeah, it wasn't chocolate. It was like an OT drink. Yeah.
Yeah, we never had that. What is the purpose of it? Is it to relax?
It's to relax you. It's marketed as like, before bed you should have it.
Oh, is it? Okay.
It's probably just a marketing gimmick. It's probably horrible for you.
Oh, it's not like it's like a herbal sleeping tablet.
Oh no. It's like I'm pretty sure it's like oat, sugar, and like. I don't know. I was gonna say something like
it's not as nice as a hot chocolate, is it? So for those listening, we're having white hot chocolate.
Yeah, it's options white hot chocolate.
Yeah, I had it in my house.
It's giving me nice vibes. That's what I'll say. Like the taste is not too sweet. I find with hot chocolate it gets too sweet, which I'm not a fan of.
Yeah, we didn't put any sugar in it. But it's not like the chocolate one though.
No, it's not. I'm not even tasting white chocolate that much. It tastes like
is it hot milk?
Yeah, it tastes more like hot milk, which is nice. Like I just feel like a baby right now.
Yeah, it's nice if you're 6.
Exactly.
Yeah. Not too grown, humongous men.
No, I mean, listen. Sometimes there's a time and a place for a hot milk, and I think right now
10:22 p.m. is
We just had a nice little chat.
Yeah.
I'm feeling cozy. This is like amplifying those cozy feelings.
Yeah.
So
a karak would have been nicer, but we didn't manage to get one in time. So
I had one earlier. I think
did you?
This is nice for me.
Where did you go?
Jaza.
Oh, okay. Do you know who does good karak? The one up the drive-through place here. So it's all right. This one that we had the other day. The food truck.
Karak House is it
Karak
called?
House or something.
Yeah, theirs is nice, isn't it? I don't like the little tap thing they had though.
Is it just brand marketing wise, just like you're getting it from a tap?
It wasn't like the mechanism wasn't there, man. Just let me pour the karak out of a normal.
Yeah,
carton.
you know what? No one's mastered with karak. No one's mastered like making it a show. You know when you order a coffee, you just watch the barista like grind the beers and then like and you like so it's like a bit of a show. I love watching the barista make my coffee, and you don't get that with karak. I wonder if there's a way they can artificially make that happen.
There is. So if you go into the let me clue you in on this.
Fine, go on.
As a karak connoisseur, let me tell you what it's about. These karak places, if you go into the karak, because usually what we'll do is we'll park up outside. The culture is you beep the horn, they come out, you order it, yeah? It's not just me, it's the culture. Yeah. But if you go in and order it...
Oi!
Yeah.
One karak.
He's like whistle at him. Yeah. If you go in, the guy there will, like, you can watch him do it, and he's got like this big kettle, usually it's like a big kettle, and so he'll pour like some milk, depending on how I make it, he'll pour a bit of milk in the cup, and he'll like get this big kettle and I'll pour it from a big distance, just for show, I think. But it will be like a little bit of a show because it's pouring it from such a high distance.
No, but okay. But if you look at so this is like the how do we categorize this? The local spots, like they're not the non-commercialized spots.
Cafeterias.
Yeah, cafeterias. Yeah. But you know, like the big karak places, the more commercialized ones. Still, when you order a karak from there, you order a karak, and they have it pre-made in compartments. I'm even thinking like when we went to Philly, it was the same. Like, and then they pour it and then they give it to you, right?
Yeah.
I'm saying one step that could change the game is if somebody made a bit of a show out of it.
Yeah.
So they didn't turn around and just pour it from a cup, but you watch that happen, because it almost you think, well, okay, it's like like it has all these connotations. Yeah. Imagine if someone like traditional, like had a big, like massive, in Punjabi they call it like a dejka, which is like a big pot where you'd make like this massive amount of tea in, and it's bubbling, and you got like, imagine if there was a show and like pulling it in, like putting something like how with coffee is a bit of a show.
Yeah. Who is it? I've seen it before. Yeah. At least on TV, where it's like it's 2 big kettles. The guy's carrying 2 big kettles, and it's like on a metal pole on his back. He's got like 2 big kettles. Yeah. That would be sick in the karak place. Like if I had a karak place, I'd have a guy like that who's like outside, a hench guy, an absolute tank. We'll call him the karak tank, yeah. But he comes to your car, and he'll pour it in front of you, like from these huge containers. That would be good. And then you charge like 300 dirhams per cup for that.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure there's something that can be done. But anyway, so I had an idea for this episode. Well, not an idea for the entire episode, but I was thinking about the fact that in recent weeks we have been speaking about generally a few like dunya-based things, especially when it comes to finance and not being feeling guilty about wanting more or whatever. And we do always prerequisite, or like not prerequisite, we do always like kind of align it with, in the same breath, saying that always be content with what you have. But I thought that we should actually focus on that specifically and have a conversation around contentment, or being content, essentially, and how important it is. Because I was thinking about this. I was thinking, essentially, bro, the thought that I was going through was, if you're promised, right, that human beings are created in a manner in which they will never be content, they'll always want more, especially when it comes to the dunya, and it's more specifically, especially if it comes to money, because dunya can involve loads of things, can't it? Like objects, or like relationships and that kind of thing. But if we specifically talk about money, I think everybody goes through this thing where you just never feel like you have enough. And when you look at people above us in the money world, people like Jeff Bezos and stuff like that, why is it that they don't just quit? Because if they just made $1 billion, like, bro, you can probably have everything you ever want in life if you have 1 billion and he's like in his 50s. Look, how much longer is he going to live, bro? Like, just have that 1 billion in your bank account and just watch it go down.
Yeah.
Don't invest in anything. Don't work at all. Don't, like, just buy whatever you want and just watch that billion go down. I promise you're most likely going to die before the billion goes down.
Oh, yeah.
Right? However, he doesn't. And he wants to still earn more and start new companies and stuff like that. And there is a whole element of, maybe he wants to like solve bigger issues in the world and stuff, and like employ more people and stuff. But also, let's be realistic. People want to make more money. And that's an example. That's an extreme example because that's the richest man in the world. But if you actually bring it down, you look at people who around us who we know that are probably incredibly wealthy. Are they satisfied with the level of income that they've got? Probably not. And we do always speak on Fresh Ground about that being a good thing, because we do want to make sure that people do strive for that. But I think we should have some time to also think about what the actual reality, which is more correct, I suppose, which is the idea that we should essentially be content with what we have and like promote that. So if you look at like some like amazing stories from our pious predecessors, you hear about them giving all of their wealth in charity. You hear about them like what their priorities were. It was like the split of like earning money versus ibadah was like completely the opposite of what our priorities are. When we do like majority of our things is like we tell ourselves we work 90% of the time so we can do that ibadah. But realistically, if you look at times in your life, or if I'm being personal and I look at times in my life where I felt my iman was highest, my body was like in the best shape and stuff like that, it was at times where I was probably earning the least. And I only know that at those times I was probably stressed about money. So I'm probably looking at it with rose-tinted glasses, but at the same time, there's certain facts. Like if your body has less body percentage, fat percentage, that's a statistical fact, right?
Yeah.
Like, so you can actually, some things you're not looking at with rose-tinted glasses. And so the overall point I want to make is that if we know that we have to, as a humankind, as a human race, as Muslims especially, remind ourselves that we are promised that we're always going to want more. That the dunya is like salt water. The more we have, the more we're going to want.
Yeah.
And we have to remind ourselves of that. And then work backwards from that point, or work forwards from that point and say, okay, in that case, sometimes we think to ourselves, let me just hit this target. Let me just pay X debt or whatever. I'm not saying don't pay your debts and don't hasten to pay your debts. Of course you should. But I'm saying sometimes we say, let me hit this target or get this particular car or whatever, and then I'll start giving to family or doing this. I'm saying because finance for many of us is always going to be a back and forth thing, and our rizq is written for us. Instead of saying one day I'll do this, why don't you look at the small steps you can start making now where you can live as if you are content? And so what I mean by that is even if it's something small, like you're a man now who has, I don't know, like sisters, right? And, you know, you've never had to like provide for them because they're like, alhamdulillah, married and stuff like that. But you could just put £50 a month in their account. And for them, that's like, they get to once a month go on a girls' night and have a nice dinner by themselves. Or whatever, and it's like you've gifted that to them. So these are maybe like little ideas of things that you can do that you probably think, when I'm wealthy, I'm going to give this person money every month. I'm going to pay for this person's thing. Yeah. But there's probably things that you can do now that would allow you to do that. And then the last thing I wanted to say, bro, is that we often look at people who are in what we believe to be better positions than us, and we forget to look at people that are below us, or what I like even more, well, I want to say even more than that, because there's a hadith that says to look at people below you. But what I love doing is I love looking at myself a few years back and saying, I should be grateful for where I am now, because 2 years ago I was in that position, and that Faisal would have been so amazed and happy and like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be like that one day. Yeah. Don't forget that. And when I say don't look at people above you, there's two things that come to mind. One is that age-old saying, which is if everybody put all of their problems in the middle, you would be really quick to grab your problems back and like run away with your own problems again, something like that. Essentially, basically saying like everybody has problems. If you saw everybody else's problems, you wouldn't be complaining about yours. Yeah. That's thing number one. And thing number two is, we don't look at other people and say, oh, that person's got a really nice mum, I wish I had their mum, or that person, I wish I had their brother, or that person, I wish I had things like that, right? Because your brother, Kerem, who I've met a couple times, I love Kerem and I think he's a great brother, but I've accepted the fact that he's not my brother and he won't be my brother.
That must have been tough.
It's just a fact. Yeah, it's just a fact, and that my brother is my brother. Yeah. I've accepted that, and so a thought never goes through my head where I wish Kerem was my brother. But why is it that, because Allah wrote for Kerem to be your brother, Allah also wrote your rizq, which is written, it's sealed, it's done, the pen has been lifted and the ink has dried. But why do I look at your wealth and say I would like that person's wealth? I know it's slightly different because you can work harder and get more wealth, and you can't work harder and get another brother, for example. But the concept is the same. It is your rizq that is written for you. Why are we not content with our rizq? So this is just like a general monologue that I wanted to make that took me 12 minutes to make. Yeah. But I think that it's due because we also are very keen and frequent in promoting the life, which I still agree with, of trying to strive for more.
Yeah, that was really good, man. And there was like at least 2 points in there where I wish I could have taken a mental note because I wanted to reply, but inshallah I'll remember what it was. Yeah. But
well, guess what? I've got a secret for you.
Yeah. Go on.
This is being recorded.
What? Okay.
You can listen back to that
amazing speech. Amazing. So next week I'll respond to this point. Okay, so I think my sort of takeaway, my go-to point here is, right, this is advice to myself because, you know, I'm the first person to struggle with these sort of like thoughts about, do I have enough? I want more. Why do I want more? So on and so forth, right? And just being ungrateful, like we're all ungrateful, and I'm definitely up there with some of those ungrateful people, man. So one advice I try to give myself is like, don't underestimate the potential fact that right now, the position I'm in right now, that in my head I'm desperately trying to improve so much. Don't underestimate the potential fact that this could be the best time for me in terms of like getting good deeds and not getting bad deeds, and not putting myself in a situation where I'm sinning. What I mean by that is, in our heads we think, okay, more money, more happiness, we tell ourselves more opportunity to do good deeds.
Yeah, right? We tell ourselves more time to do ibadah. It's such a lie.
Yeah, as well.
It's true, factually.
It is, but that's not the motivation. And also,
do you do it? Sometimes
this is the thing. I'll give more charity and I'll support this person, I'll support that person. And that's what we tell ourselves. And inshallah, you know, it's a good intention to have that. Of course, we should tell ourselves that. But really and truly, like, how many people do I know, like you get more money and like they get, a potential new responsibility opens up for that person because they've got more money now, right? They should be giving more charity here and there, but are they doing that, right? Is that money slowly starting to turn against them now? Where it's like, excuse me, the money is now being a source of sin for them because they're not managing it correctly, and they're also using it incorrectly. I really need to clear my throat properly.
Clear your throat. I read a Twitter post recently where apparently some sheikh said that he was giving tafsir of an ayah, and I shouldn't, like, with something like tafsir, actually you should be very careful with like who you quote and stuff, so I guess I won't say it, but separately, not speaking about this specific ayah, because there's a general concept which is that Allah doesn't test people with more than they can bear, right? And it wasn't this ayah, I don't think, that they were talking about, but there was an explanation on Twitter that basically said that that like the opposite is true. Like sometimes, like Allah, because Allah knows His slaves, Allah can give something to one of His slaves because He knows that that person can then essentially say like he wouldn't be able to handle not having this specific thing, and that he would be a better slave if he has it or something like that. I'm going to be vague with it because I don't know the quote.
And I guess, like, again, going back to my point, it was just like, don't underestimate the fact that you getting more, it may be the worst thing for you, right? It may unlock.
That's essentially what I was trying to say.
Yeah, may be bad for you, and Allah knows what's best for you, right? And we also know that everyone's risk is written. Some people are going to be given more risk than others. Some people are going to have more provision than others. We know this, right? Everyone including ourselves, people got less than us, people got more than us, right? And we may never reach the heights that we want to reach, right? And we may never reach the lows that we fear we could, right? So only Allah knows, and only Allah is in charge of that happening. You said before a minute ago, I could work harder and get more money. To an extent, it's true, but again, many people work extremely hard and don't get more money, right? Fact of life. You could start a new business, you could invest money into that business, you could work day and night, sleep 4 hours and grind it out, and it just doesn't work, because risk is written by Allah. Other people, they just work 1 or 2 hours a day. Oh, he inherited this, and then somehow Ferrari was gifted to him, and so on and so forth. It just falls into his lap or her lap. This happens because things are from Allah, right? So when you know that, you have to know that your situation, Allah gave you that situation. Allah knows you better than anybody else, right? And it may not be written for you to get much more money, and it may be written for you to get much less money in the future. Like your risk could fluctuate downwards, upwards. So the key here is not trying to forecast that for yourself, but instead saying it could happen this way, that way. Let's just focus on being content and happy now and getting good deeds now, because it's all I know. It could, my wealth could quadruple in the next 12 months, or I could be totally wiped out in the next 12 months. Allah knows best. I've got no clue, and it's not really linked to me working hard or less. Obviously, you can choose to work and sit at home and do nothing, and of course that's gonna have an impact. But we're talking everybody's realistic lifestyle here. You try to work to get more money. Everyone's trying to do that. That doesn't mean you're going to get more. So don't hang your good deeds on that potential outcome. That's not, when I get that amount of money, I'll give this amount of charity. When I do this, I'll be so grateful. Like, bro, be grateful now. Do you know what I mean? This is advice to myself first and foremost.
Also, always remembering the reality that death can be right around the corner. Ustad Abdurrahman said it once in a lecture like this. He said, death is like a queue. We're all in the same queue. Yeah. But we don't know where we are, what position we are in the queue. We could be next in the queue. We were queuing up for death. Yeah. We could be next, or we could be 100th in line. We could be next in line.
When you think about that, who cares who's got more money? Bro. Who cares?
So then, but then the other thing is if that's the case, if death's truly true, do you really want to ever go one day without reading Quran? Do you want to go one day without, you say, one day I want to be Hafiz, but it's when I'm 40, I'll start trying to memorize Quran. It's bro, did you do anything today to try and memorize Quran? Because what if today's your last day?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so I was having that reflection earlier today. I was I'll mention it on the pod with Kaya. What have you got? Just grab my notes now.
Yeah.
Did you have something? I'm sure you had some stuff.
Did I have some stuff? If I did, I've forgotten it.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I think I was gonna bring up how I enjoyed last week's episode with Ty.
Oh yeah, go on. Go ahead, compliment me.
Yeah, I thought, it was great guest selection.
Okay.
Great questions.
Yeah.
You answered the rebuttals of the questions were equally fantastic. It was just great.
Yeah.
Like, I'm about it. He seems like a lovely brother.
But he was so nice.
Yeah, man. He seemed like a lovely brother. And it was really enjoyable just listening to the back and forth. Was that the first time you met him?
But it was the first time I met him, and I didn't necessarily have an impression that he was not going to be nice. I didn't have it. But what I did have is I've met a lot of athletes and stuff, and what you find...
He just starts boxing you up.
No. What I find with athletes, though, is that they're so talented at what they do, but you would expect that, like, they're like... are like super PR trained or extroverts. You find a lot of them are introverts, and the reason that they're so good at their sport is because they become so obsessed with it, and they're actual introverts, and they've grown their life like being obsessed with it, and they're not the easiest people to speak with and have those conversations because their life is that sport or whatever, right? And I don't know, like I've had some experiences like that. I'm not saying all of my experiences like that, but you know, have you ever seen like a David Beckham interview, like where David Beckham is a big star, and then like you see him after a match back in the day when we were younger, and you'd be like, you know, they'd be like, oh, how was the game? And you'd be like, yeah, you know, it was good, and like you know, we thought that we did well, you know, and you're watching like, is there a personality there? But now you look at it and you think, actually, it's not that there's no personality there. It's that you also they get asked the same questions every week after a game. Like
it's
like
scripted. That they give them a script. I think that the club gives them a script. Like just say this in an interview. Don't say anything else.
Just be safe, right? Maybe. Yeah. But so anyway, like, I have also generally found with a lot of athletes is that they're introverts.
Yeah.
But Ty was a great conversationalist. He was great because like from the minute I met him, just like his energy was great, his great conversations, and his banter was like our banter. Yeah. So it was really, really pleasant meeting him, man. Like it was lovely. We said we'll do some dinners and stuff. So he lives here now. So yeah.
Yeah, man. Is he from London?
Yeah, he's from. Where in London is he from? No, he's not from London. No, he's not from London. He's from I think it's like Derby or something. I can't remember. But if you listen to his accent is the exact same accent as Tyson Fury and Tommy Fury.
Oh, really?
He grew up with them.
Really?
But his accent, it sounds like you're speaking to them.
And his name is Ty. What is his name? Tyson.
His name is Ty.
Just Ty, yeah. Not sure. Tyson.
I think Ty.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, but he trains with Tyson Fury.
Really?
Yeah.
That's sick, man.
He's like his sparring partner.
I've got no idea. I don't even follow his stuff.
Tyson Fury in an interview once, he was like, he got like hit quite hard in sparring or something, and yeah, I'll leave the story there.
Fine. I enjoyed it. I was a little bit taken aback that nobody like confused me for him because like it was like. Because they're both obviously just fighting machines.
Yeah.
But yeah,
like, that guy singing Kai says,
Kai looks a bit different
today. Great shape, yeah.
Oh, it looks a bit different, but yeah, in the comments, nobody made that mistake somehow.
Yeah. You'd be shocked, bro.
Yeah.
But yeah, I appreciate that, man. There's a really fun episode. And it reignited my love for the guest episodes.
Yeah.
Because I forgot that when you do the guest... in the past, I made a lot more effort for the guest episodes. Like in the UK, bro, it was just like every week I'm just trying to get like the next guest, and then I got to a point where I was like, I don't know if I love the guest episodes, and then I was getting like different thoughts, and then I did this episode, and I was like, you know what, I actually really enjoy meeting new people.
Yeah, I think the secret for these guest episodes is finding people who won't be effort, because it's just like the vibe is just
the vibe is right. Yeah,
and it's just like that main. I say it would be hard to find. Not really hard to find, but it's just like, if we can find someone who's just like, won't require us to like, let's script these questions in a certain way.
You know what you're saying is if there's a culture fit.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, nowadays, the biggest reason companies hire employees is one of the big factors in decision making is, does this person fit our company culture? Yeah. And it's exactly the same. It's like, does this person might have a great story, they might have a great following, but do they fit the culture of a freshly grounded guest?
What culture do you think you have? I think you're going to say London culture, but let me just tell you from the back, our culture is not London culture. It's heavily influenced, but no way our culture is London culture.
But freshly grounded culture? Just like,
I mean, your like culture is freshly grounded FG culture. Really.
Oh, my culture, freshly grounded culture.
I mean, I think the same thing at this point. But yeah,
I think now, like many people who listen to this podcast, I think you realize when you start understanding the truth and that Islam is the way of life, that your culture is just Islam.
Yeah.
It's very simple.
Yeah.
Your culture is Islam. And again, when I met Ty, when I met Sam for the first time, in some ways meeting you, you know, you meet people and you think the only thing tying us together, Abu Bakr, Islam, the only thing tying us together is Islam, because we come from such different backgrounds, we have different ages, we have different experiences, but we love each other for Allah's sake. Why is that? Well, it's because of Iman.
Yes.
It's because of the religions, because our joint love for is it joint love or communal love, or like essentially like our shared love for Allah. And then that becomes the culture. Yeah. Because if you look at a people of a culture, there's similarities in even when you look at them. They might be dressed similarly. They might be have like similar skin color or whatever. When you look at Muslims, they're so varied. Yet that's a culture. The culture of Islam is so beautiful. There's no. It's not a particular skin color. It's not a particular like I suppose like like anything like high upbringing, experiences. It's like there's such a vast variety. It's just a person returning back to their fitrah, their soul returning back to what it wants and demands, and the only place their soul feels comfortable. Bro, I was in Salah today, I was in Middle City Centre, and one of my favourite prayer rooms in the mall, by the way. I love that mall. Yeah, it's really nice. And so I was praying, bro, and when I was in sujood, I had this feeling. And I thought, like, this is where I feel the true me. And I thought to myself, I'm a person who, when I travel, I can become a bit anxious. I like being at home. I spend, as you know, statistically 95% of my time at home. Yeah. I've built my home around me, my environment in my home to like facilitate my way of life and stuff like that. And so I'm not very comfortable outside the house anymore, weirdly. Like, I mean, when I'm traveling, like, you know, some people love traveling. I'm like in different places. I'm on a plane, a hotel room. Like, I just want to be where I know my stuff, right? Even when I'm traveling and I'm in the most peculiar of places, when I'm in Salah, I feel like that homesick feeling goes. Because you're home, essentially. When you're bowing down with those who bow down. Well, even if I'm praying by myself, like, it's like, oh, Allah is here. Like, you remember you're with Allah, like in a sense that Allah is all seeing, all hearing.
Of course, you don't mean it literally, but like especially in congregation, right? Like if I go to if I travel to like wherever I'm going, like a different country, even if it's just one brother I'm praying with, right? Obviously, if you're by yourself, it's still good, but it's like especially if you're in congregation, you're right. It's like, wow, I'm in a totally different land, never been here before, but these are my brothers. Yeah. These are my brothers in a sense, like. Brothers, man, like brothers, in like in like the highest sense, quite frankly, you know.
One of the thoughts I got today when I was feeling that after, I thought, what a shame for Muslims who don't pray. Like they don't get that. Like they don't get that. First of all, their soul demands them to pray. Like it's what we're created to do. But also, like on the same sentiment that we were just talking about, wherever you are in the world, as a Muslim. You know that if you walk into a mosque, that's like you feel like you're at home. Like you know what to do, you know how to behave. Not only that, but you almost feel like you have rights in that place. Like no one can just kick you out. You can just after Salah sit there and contemplate. But anywhere in the world, bro. Let's say it's your first time in Malaysia, never been there before. You go to any building there, you're gonna feel like a guest, bro. You go into a mosque, you don't feel like a guest. Yeah. You feel equal with everyone else in that mosque. You're all slaves of Allah. What a beautiful feeling. It feels like a safe space. And what a shame for Muslims who don't go to mosques. Yeah. What a shame for Muslims who don't pray. They don't get that feeling. Yeah, man. Because that's home. That's truly home. You know? Yeah.
It's so true. It's a very difficult feeling to put into words, but home is a good way to put it, man. Just like you feel safe and strong.
Yeah,
safe and strong.
You feel collected. You feel like you're together with the brothers.
Yeah, man.
People, I used to say, and I still believe this, but I used to say like wherever my wife and wherever I am in the world, as long as I'm with my wife and my kids, I'm home. Yeah. Because that's where I feel complete. I've got my wife and kids, and that's how I feel also about like if I'm traveling, for example, I'm by myself or whatever. You know, the idea that the consciousness of Allah and unfortunately we're all sinners and we're all human beings, and sometimes we're not as conscious of Allah as we are other times. Yeah. But the moments where I am conscious of Allah, that's the moments where all of that anxiety goes. Verily in the moments of Allah do our hearts find ease. That anxiety goes, the feeling of feeling a bit homesick goes, and all of a sudden I remember that this is what the life is. It's you're a traveller really everywhere on this life, and the realization that the consciousness of Allah, remembering Allah, reminds you that really it is just you out here by yourself, and you're only trying to please Allah.
Yeah, man.
As long as you're doing that, as long as you're pleasing Allah, what else do you need, bro? I said something to one brother the other day on WhatsApp, brother that we know. I messaged him and I said, no, we were having a conversation. At the end of it, I said, may Allah reward you. Normally, when you say that to someone on WhatsApp or someone says that to you, how do you respond?
Ameen wa iyyak.
Ameen wa iyyak. May Allah reward you too. Jazakallahu khair. Whatever. He responded, bro. He quoted it and he responded, is there anything more to life?
Subhanallah.
I never, because I'm just saying, like, may Allah reward you as a thing now. Like, I'm not even conscious of what that means. I said, oh, may Allah reward you. And he goes, is there anything more to life?
That's beautiful.
And I was like, there's not.
Yeah.
As long as Allah rewards, like, not even, as long as, like, Allah, like, what is there more than Allah's reward?
Yeah.
And so I use that now.
Yeah.
Someone said to me, may Allah reward you, and I quoted it and I said, is there anything more to life?
I might have to steal that myself. Yeah.
I don't know if he did it because he, like, I think he just did it because this guy is genuinely, like, in fact, you'll know who I'm talking about. Anyway, there's something that he reminded me, actually, which I want to actually say publicly, because I think that he made a good point. So he was speaking to me. I went out for dinner with him the other night, and he said to me, bro, you got to stop doing this thing. Like, in podcasts here and there, like, I'll be like, oh, there's this sick quote. I wouldn't normally quote it, but it's from, like, Jay-Z or Tupac or something. He said, you have to stop doing that, because what will happen is, even though, like, the quote itself might be a good quote and then it has connotations that are good, what happens is someone might go and Google that lyric to find it, and then you're leading a person to sin. I was like, it's true. So I want to make, like, a public thing, like, announcement. I'm going to try and stop doing that. We do come from a culture where we're born and brought up in high school. Well, no, definitely not. But you're in high school, you're in primary school, you grow up in London, and you hear and see quotes and you talk about things. But obviously, we want to try and, especially Freshly Grounded, create an identity. The whole point of Freshly Grounded was giving an identity to people who didn't feel like they had an identity.
Yes.
And that's people who, like, they never really felt 100% part of the. They never really felt 100% part of the friend circle. They never felt 100% part of this, 100% part of that. And it's like, let's all come together and say, like, your true identity is this. It's a Muslim, and let's remind ourselves of that identity and be proud of that identity. Yeah,
man. I mean, the reason I asked you that question, like, what is your culture, is because I remember when I was moving to Dubai a few years ago now, alhamdulillah, I was speaking to Amin, Mind Heist Amin, and he was telling me, like, what's your culture? Like, what kind of culture do you want to instill in your children, type of thing, right? Because he was like, you're going to move here, so you're going to be away from family. You haven't been brought up here, so, like, you kind of got this mix of cultures, type of thing. I'm like a third or second generation kid as it is. I'm like a third generation removed, third generation in another country, and I moved to another country.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like very jumbled, and I've got, alhamdulillah, a child. Like, it's very jumbled, right? So he was like, what is the culture, right? And I feel like like, it's kind of what you just said. Like, we grew up in the position where it's like we didn't quite feel comfortable in our friend. We kind of always felt like the odd one out in a friend group, in a classroom, perhaps, because again, we discovered Islam, and like we tried our best to try and be on that. And by doing that, you become a stranger, right? And even like taking small steps, I won't do this, I won't do that. You start to be the odd one out. And I feel like that's a very good place to be if you are a Muslim in the West, like trying to be the odd one out because you're trying to be on that path. And I guess that's my culture, because obviously not to say that my Turkish culture is like thrown out the window, that the good parts of Turkish culture, I'll take it, but that can't be my basis, right? That can't be my foundation, because there's stuff in there that I wouldn't want to be part of my culture or part of my kids' culture. So, but this whole concept of like just trying to be on the deen, and whatever that comes with, whether that means you're like the odd one out or a little bit, different from your friend group or classroom, that oddness you should probably lean into that as your culture. It's like it's okay to be odd here because this is what the truth is. I'm trying to follow the truth, you know.
Yeah, I think to give you credit, you do that really well because you can see that you are first and foremost Muslim, and then you really beautifully instill Turkish or Turkish Cypriot culture is I think in your like, because obviously like the names that you call your child, that sounds like I'm saying, but as in, like you speak, so you do have like that culture of Turkish in you.
Yeah, I mean you can't escape that, right?
And it's good, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, not that I want to escape it. It is a beautiful thing.
Yeah. So your daughter, does she does she say she's Turkish?
That's a good question. We've said to her before, "Oh, you're Turkish, this and that," and she, you know, she doesn't really understand the concept, I guess. But she
is Turkish, isn't she?
Yeah, but she is. Yeah. So we said to her that she is. But even then, when I say it to her, it's like, bro, what am I saying? Like, oh, you're Turkish. Like, your parents, and my parents were both born in the UK. Yes, our roots are Turkish. We'll always instill that in her. She lives in Dubai now. We're trying to teach her English and Arabic first and foremost.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you're Turkish, but like, what does that actually mean?
No, but she should. But that what it means is that's your roots, and like it's important. And I never thought it was important, but I think it's important now that I have got kids. That's like the importance of it is all of the beautiful parts of it.
Yeah,
there's beautiful parts of Turkish culture that your daughter, sorry, bro, is gonna.
Should experience.
Yeah,
should experience and should embrace. That's part of our history, for sure. I agree. But to sort of sum this up, right? When I got married and we were looking for places to go, right? Because we knew London was like not a place to be like long term. We were visiting the Gulf, we visited like Malaysia, this and that. Kuwait was the first place we went in the Gulf, and we landed.
Really?
Yeah, we landed. Got into the taxi, and the taxi driver, he's from what I could see, he's Kuwaiti, yeah, like he's wearing a thobe and everything, and he just had the Quran playing in the taxi, yeah, and it was like, bro, I've never been in this country or this part of the world,
but I love it.
But I loved it. But not only that, I felt more at home there. 10 seconds, like 10 seconds in the taxi, than I've almost ever felt in London.
Yeah,
because like, wow, this feels more like home.
Yeah,
right, because this is my culture.
Yeah,
in London, bro, I'm Turkish Cypriot, my wife's Turkish Cypriot, we've got Turkish Cypriot families, but like the practice of Islam is not as strong as I'd like it to be, right? So for that reason alone, your heart doesn't feel settled. Do you know what I mean? Where it's like, in that location, you just don't feel quite right. You go somewhere else, this brother who you don't know, paying Quran in the taxi, you look out the window, there's masajid built everywhere, so on and so forth. You just feel, wow, I just being in this location makes me feel more at home, right? Because you want to make your baseline Islam, right? You want to make your base culture, your base, where your morals come from, where your culture comes from, Islam. And when that's the case, you can still have that Turkishness, but you feel most wholesome when you're with the Muslims rather than just the Turks.
Right, yeah.
Right? I feel like that's the crux of it.
Yeah.
Right? You want your homeliness to feel when you're among the Muslims, not just amongst the Turks.
Yeah.
You don't want that nationalism to like overtake.
Yeah. You want to take the good parts of the culture, the beautiful parts of the
enjoy
culture.
Enjoy the food, enjoy the history.
Yeah.
But that's not your home. Your homeliest feeling should not be there, in my opinion.
Let's end with this. What's your favorite Turkish dish?
Oh wow.
Do you make Turkish food at your house? Is Turkish food made in your house?
Yeah, it is. Not me personally. Actually, no, I make a good mercimek çorba. I make a good lentil soup.
Okay.
Every now and again.
I like lentils.
I also make very bad ones, but sometimes I make good ones.
Sometimes I make good ones, fine.
Yeah. If I had to pick my favorite, I'd probably say Iskender, which is...
I see that all the time in the menus.
Yeah, it's delicious, man.
What is it?
It's basically... you can get lamb or chicken doner. Or doner for those who are
doner,
yeah. So basically it's pide, so pita bread, right, soaked in like the oil of the doner meat, doner over the top of it, and then like covered in yogurt and tomato sauce, and
so a classic doner kebab.
Basically, no,
classic doner kebab. That sounds like
the yogurt is a game changer
from West End kebab shop.
Any kebab shop. Like Iskender, go to any Turkish restaurant, and if you've never had Iskender before, get it. and yeah, you can thank me later in
And
the
say
comments.
Kaya sent you.
Yeah. Just drop name Kaya. Everyone will gasp.
That in seconds.
Yeah.
Oh, now I fancy a doner. Bro, do you know what, man? I haven't had a good London. And even when I went back to London, I didn't order just a grimy doner kebab.
I genuinely don't even like them, man.
Oh, man.
Honestly, don't even like them.
Oh, they're lovely.
They're not even nice, man. If you want to get good doner kebab in London, yeah, good one. Go to Haringey, a restaurant called. They're all pretty good down there, to be fair. But Antepliler Doner, right? That's the best doner in London.
It sounds too culturally perfect.
Bro, they smack it.
I want Boss Man up the road, doner kebab and chips.
Yeah, you can get that, but that doner on that thing is like 94% rubber or something. Like, it's not looking good, man. It's not looking good. Like there's like the meat is like, oof, it's good. It's good. And little side note, just because I feel like it's an interesting shout, yeah. A lot of the Turkish food in London is actually Kurdish.
Okay.
Yeah. There's obviously a big overlap.
Yeah.
But it's important. I feel like should be said. Because like Antep, for example, Antep is a city in Turkey that's like close to the border of Iraq, I think. It's a lot, like extremely Kurdish area. So a lot of the, so basically what I'm trying to get at, a lot of the Turks you see in London, they're either Turkish Cypriot like me, or they're Kurdish. There's very small amount of Turks in London who are like Turkish from the mainland Turkey, and they're not Kurdish. And their food is really nice. It's obviously a big overlap with like Turkish food, but it's like, yeah, a lot of their stuff is...
I have some good Kurdish friends. And
I actually don't.
Oh, don't you?
Weirdly, yeah. Don't know why.
Because you're...
No, no reason to.
Is there like a political thing there?
No, not at all, man. I mean, not at all, yeah.
You just love Muslims?
Yeah, this is what I'm saying to you, yeah? So with some Turkish people, there would be, like, oh, it's like bro, if a Kurdish brother walked in right now, that's my brother, man, like if he's Muslim.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to get at when I'm talking about this whole culture thing. My culture shouldn't stem from there's a underlying political thing with Turks and or Turks and Greeks or Turks. Bro, if a Greek brother walked in right now, he's Muslim. He is my brother.
I didn't realize that there was a thing with Turks and Greeks.
Oh man.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, off the mic.
Cut this now.
Yeah, alhamdulillah for Islam, man. Islam takes away all of that, man. Like,
that's what I'm saying, man. That's what I'm saying. Alhamdulillah.
Alright, bro. Alright, bros. Alright, bros, we're off. Bro, this whole podcast, I can see the side of my face, and then there's like my beard. I've got like this hair on my neck that just needs absolutely like taking off. Just
mate, I didn't know how a trim. My trim is not looking A1.
Guys, we're
still recording.
Yeah.
Nice. I just dissed myself. Fine.
Guys, we'll see you next week, inshallah. Maybe a guest. Who knows?
Yes.
Allah knows.
He does.
Yeah. Say something to that.
Yeah, you didn't give me much to say to
There's
that.
nothing you have to say. That's right.
Sometimes you do that. So I'll just give you like a one-liner thing. It was like, bruv, it's a very limited amount of responses.
All right, guys. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.